I do love your baby Groot in the background, though. That
Yeah.
is so priceless. I love it.
Yes. Yes. And my baby comes to my office. So I was wondering if it was something I had left out there that my baby had, but on the mountain.
Joseph, we can't keep looking. He's coming.
Over the hill. Yeah, I've got all the random stuff that Disney sends us. So
There we go.
very good. So this is exciting. It's exciting that you guys are, I want you to explain what the Christmas special is because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, so the Christmas is a kind of a special time of year for The Chosen because it all started with a Christmas short film that my partner made, Dallas Jenkins made for his church. And it was around the birth of Jesus Christ, but it was done differently, like through the perspective and the eyes of the shepherd. And when I saw that short film, it impacted me because it gave me a perspective of the Nativity that I never had before. And it gave me a sense of connection to the shepherd. And it was very emotional to me. And so little did I know, just in a couple days, I was sitting right next to Dallas and he had shared his vision of a TV show. And I'm like, oh, I got to be a part of this. And, we started right then and there, The Chosen, and we decided to go on the journey. That was 4 years ago. And to see the blessings that we've been able to receive in these 4 years of really getting not only one season out, but 2 seasons out of the show has been very impactful, where people can see an authentic Jesus through the eyes of those that he called. And the response has been really well received. And every Christmas, I don't know, we have this inner desire to create something. And last year we had a Christmas special where we brought some artists together and showcased that short film that Dallas made as well. And what blew me away, especially on the side of marketing that I do, is to see 1 million people concurrently watching our Christmas special, and seeing them not only enjoy, but worship together. And I just thought, wow, this is just so impactful that The Chosen is really taking off. And little did I know of how much it took off after that moment. That seems like we just propelled to a new height. And so this year we decided, hey, let's do it again. And Dallas just kind of had in his heart and his soul, he's like, we got to give the other side of the story. I'm like, what do you mean by that, Dallas? He goes, we got to give Joseph and Mary's perspective in the Chosen-esque way. And he was actually on a plane flying somewhere, and it just came to him. It just kind of like this downloaded dump, and he's all typing away on an airplane. And by the time that he landed, he had the episode, which is unheard of. Usually it takes weeks and weeks and weeks to get a script ready to go. And he had it, and he showed his co-writers, and they kind of worked on it. And it's a beautiful episode that is in the Chosen universe. There's our characters that are coming in, are part of that episode. And they're able to see basically the birth of Jesus Christ through their perspective and the things that they had to endure. And so really, really love that. And what I love more than anything else about it is this is kind of like a standalone episode. You don't necessarily need to watch The Chosen to understand what's going on here. It can be watched alone, but there's enough people in The Chosen that are in this episode, and also future characters that will be kind of introduced in The Chosen. They'll be introduced now through this episode.
Am I right that it's like a one night experience? Is that what I was saying?
Well, it's 2 nights, so it's December 1st and 2nd. But if we do our job, maybe if we can fill up the theaters, they'll extend it out to more. That's kind of our goal. Is we really want people to experience this in theaters, because it's going to be different. It's just not the episode where we actually have musical artists and everything that are coming together. And it's something that I believe the world needs right now. I think we need to really look at, push aside everything that's going on in the world, in our lives, and have a point of gathering in a way that we can be uplifted, and to see, the music that is presented and the spoken word that's presented in this episode. I think we'll be all worshiping together. And I believe that we're going to extend it out because of the response that we're going to be selling out these theaters.
And I love that too. Like, you're exactly right. Like the time that we've had this last, year and a half that we haven't been able to, depending on where you live, but where I live, it's been a long time where you haven't been able to gather and worship. And so I love that you guys have included that element in there. So for the Christmas story in general, how do you feel like that's impacted today's worship music?
Well, worship music, I think, I think as we all grow and understand symbolism and Jesus and what his mission is and how it all started, I think that it gives us our way to create. Now, whether you're a music artist or whether you're an artist or whether you're, a film, producer or whatever, I think it brings that spark of light of knowing how to communicate what you've learned or portraying it on a deeper level that can only be done through the medium of your choice. And what I love about this Christmas special is we're bringing all different types of talents together that you can experience it in a totally different way. I know my wife connects with music far greater than I do, but I connect more to dialogue. So the episode's going to connect with me. I know that it's going to bless her to see the music, and I think it's just going to all come together in a beautifully orchestrated way. And my favorite parts of the first Christmas special is we actually had these dialogues that we have these little sermons, not little sermons, but basically these little essays that were there kind of talking about something. And there's one that's here that kind of goes through each of the music performances and through the episodes. And it's so powerful. Like when you just the spoken word, it's so powerful to me because it speaks to me, but then it gets amplified through music. It gets amplified through the episode. And that's what I really look forward to.
So when you were, I don't know how much of the process you were in on this, but kind of reaching out to the artists to do the worship music, did
Yeah.
anybody come back with stories of the chosen or how they've been impacted?
Well, you'll be shocked, but we didn't go to them. They came to us. They're
Okay.
like, hey, we saw the last episode or the last Christmas special. We want to be a
Good.
part of the next one. So that was a good sign. And I can say that Dallas, he gets inspired by music that helps him even write. And there's that more of that creative process. And I think there's like a creative synergy together when you have artists coming together on something like this. And it creates just this excitement that you don't normally get just doing your own thing. And I do know that the Chosen and the shows inspired other artists because they actually have now new music that they were inspired by watching the show, and vice versa. I know that Dallas is inspired, and there's like even just very specific lines that we use in the Chosen has come from something that's kind of touched Dallas's heart through music. And so I think we're all interlocked this way, and I think it's like this synergy. And so when we got done with the first Christmas special last year, they were like, hey, are we coming back? And then others were like, hey, we saw this, we want to be a part of it. And some really big names like Maverick City's coming this year. We got Phil Wickham, King and Country, the Bonner family, and then the list goes on. I think we have 13 artists that are coming this year, but it was all, hey, we would love to be a part of this.
Cool. And is it interspersed? Like you'll have a scene and then you'll do the music, or is it more like we've got the whole story and then we have the music?
Well, we're really sensitive of how it's portrayed, and what we wanted to look at is, hey, this is an opportunity that we can be together and worship in a unique way. And so there will be spoken word and music intertwined, and it will build up to where the episode is actually showed. And then you'll have to wait for the ending because I don't want to spoil it because it's going to be one of those moments that hopefully you'll remember forever.
And what do you hope like audiences when they're driving home, what they're talking about?
I personally might answer this question differently than Dallas, but there are things about the birth of Jesus Christ that during this process of producing the show that I learned about, and it gave me a deeper significance and understanding of the role and life and ministry of Jesus Christ. And for me personally, I know for my children and their friends and family, I want them to know that because that literally changed the way that I looked and seen the nativity in a way that I've never really understood before. And I think I understood it like superficially, but it gave me the depth of really understanding what that meant. And it helped me have a deeper relationship with Jesus.
I love that. And I agree with you. I mean, that's what I pray over my children every day is that they continue in the faith. So it's probably amazing for them to see their father producing this. And, the content of The Chosen is so real, right? It like seems real. It doesn't just seem like, that's just like a Jesus story or whatever. And it's like a perfect little world, or whatever, you know,
So perfectly done.
yeah.
The manger scene was just perfect. There's
Yeah,
no,
there was no
nothing
dirt.
there.
There was
Yeah,
no dirt. Yeah.
Wait till you see that scene. Let me tell you.
Yeah. So I don't know how old your kids are, but have you seen, any movement of their faith through you doing this series? Or maybe that's too
Absolutely.
personal a question, but
Yeah, no, it's not too personal for me, because I think the biggest thing in life outside of Jesus Christ and God is family for me, and to have that stewardship over them and helping them discover who Jesus really is. And my wife and I have spent years reading the scriptures with them and helping them to understand the stories. I two examples. The first one was our 15-year-old at the time, when he watched the show, he was just so touched, and he goes, "Dad, I always just viewed Jesus as stoic and just distant and cold, and he would come down hard on me if I sinned, but he's just the opposite. He's my friend. He's
no.
one that's going to lift me up when I'm down." And I'm like, you're right. That's exactly his role. And I think, as we're teaching and as they have this misconception of who Jesus is, we get to see an authentic Jesus of how he interacts with the one. He'll leave the 99 and go to the one. And I think we hear that, but I don't think we understand what that means. And seeing a show that really showcased that, that he came and disrupted the way that the world was and is and will forever will be, and really went. And this is what I love more than anything else, is when he started his ministry, he revealed who he was to a woman, but not only a woman, but a Samaritan who was the enemy of the Jews. I mean, come on. I mean, that's like literally going in a direction that most people wouldn't think that the King of Kings would do, from their perception. And so I love that they're able to experience this, but it leads them back to the Bible of really digging deep in what's being done. And so that's one experience. The other one, I had a son that just couldn't watch the show to save his life.
Wow.
Like seriously, he'd fall asleep and he'd be out. And I'm like, man, I'm not the father that's like, hey, you got to watch this because I made this or anything like that. I'm like, he'll watch it in his own due time. But after 6 times of binge watching it as a family and with friends and whatever, I'm like, oh man, like he's like so checked out. And there was an experience that he did is his older brother said, hey, you should probably watch the show. Just go watch an experience. Just watch one full episode and see, what you think. And he always fall asleep in episode 1 of season 1, and sure enough, he binge watched all of season 1. And this is before season 2 came out. And he comes up knocking on my door at 4 a.m. And I thought something house is burning down or something. And he was all in tears. And he looks at me and says, Dad, Jesus lives. He just lives. I'm like, yes, son. Like, what did you do? What'd you see or whatever? And he just says, I just watched The Chosen. And it spoke to me on a level that gave me an understanding and a love I've never felt before. And I says, well, what are you going to do with it? And he says, well, I'm going to go thank God first through prayer. And then I'm going to make sure I'm more diligent in studying the Bible. And it was just love to see that redemption moment for him. And I think it's different, but for me as a father, all the energy, money, and pain that we've done to get The Chosen up, that moment, that's it for me. Like if that's all The Chosen did for me, that's all I needed. But to see it to impact lives, we get tens and thousands of stories of people being impacted in one way or another from the content, or they really connect with a character and they see themselves and they see Jesus differently, and that's really refreshing.
Well, that was beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with me, because, that makes me tear up, because it's like, that's what you want your kids to say, right? I mean, like that's the moment you want. And so I love that.
My soul magnifies the Lord.
And my spirit rejoices in God, my Savior.
Remember what your messenger said. The first thing.
Don't be afraid.
People must know.